everybody, I'm Meg from Loven Stamps. I apologize for being a couple minutes behind this morning, but I have a terrific project to share with you. One that features one of the online exclusive stamp sets, So Very Merry. So this one has been out for just a little while, but it's really easy to overlook. And it is the classic stamp set, or a classic stamp set for doing faux stained glass cards, which is a great technique featuring vellum. And I find that vellum is one of the most overlooked products in the catalog because people aren't really sure what to do with it or how to layer it, or they know that there's something weird about the adhesive. So I'm gonna go through all those things this morning and show you a really fun idea, 2 versions of it for using the stamp set. Hey, Tanya. And I have a couple extra things to mention. Remind me to talk to you about the stamps, the postage stamps, if I don't remember. And then a thank you for everybody who has been so kind with your congrats on the Stampin' Up! Annual Awards that we just got announced. So thanks, everybody. All right, let's go ahead and switch our camera and get going here with some stamping. All right, so I have embossing powder all over my table, which is kind of a hazard. So let me get that. And this is going to be the solution to keeping that from happening. But we are going to start with a square of vellum cardstock. Let's talk a teeny bit about vellum. It is often made with like plastic fibers and so forth rather than paper fibers, and it does not absorb ink. The ink will only sit on top of it. So you have to use it a little bit differently than regular ink or regular paper because things take a much longer time to dry on it. And so it is actually perfect for heat embossing. So let's bring in our Very Merry set. And there are some great stained glass images in here. I'm gonna go ahead and use our Santa because, I mean, Halloween was a couple days ago, right? So we are well into the Christmas season. If you've been to a store lately, you know that they are full on in Christmas mode. I was at the store, I don't remember, a big box store the day before Halloween, and they were already clearing out Halloween to make room for things in red and green. So, all right, so I'm gonna just grab some images here that we're gonna want for our, that's not quite big enough. Actually, I'll show you that. So this is kind of how my stamp was. And the little O is not supported completely by a block. So that means it's really not gonna stamp the way I want it to with the best quality image. So you really wanna make sure that your entire image is on the clear block to make sure that you get the whole thing when you stamp. So, all right. Hey, Sue. I'm going to go ahead and use my Versamark pad now to do some heat embossing on here. So there are 3 steps to heat embossing. The first one is a sticky ink. The second one is your powder that's going to be melted. And your third one is an embossing heat tool. And this is not like a hairdryer. It's so much hotter. So let's go ahead and start here. Now, I've been handling this. I have the oils from my fingers, all the things. Oh, Bonnie loves heat embossing. That's good. So if I put my powder on here now, it's going to stick to this paper a little bit. So what I'm going to do is grab from my Embossing Editions toolkit, and the link is in the video description for this, or comments, I guess. And this is a really key supply. So this is a rosin bag. I couldn't find my Stampin' Up! One, so I thought, oh, that's fine. I'll just order like a baseball one from Amazon. And it came, and it was like filthy. It was not clean. So I'm not sure what was wrong with it, or if that's like the par for the course. But the one that comes in the Stampin' Toolkit is clean, and so will not mark your paper. So what it does is it just covers in a teeny layer of powder, not that you'd even notice it, the spots on your paper that would cling to the powder when we do our heat embossing. So, all right, so now I've prepped my paper. I'm going to use my Versamark ink. This is a thick, sticky, clear ink, and it is designed to either add a watermark to something. So actually here, I'll show you on our cardstock, because we're gonna cover this up. So there is my watermark, you see there? So this ink matches every color of cardstock that you have because it will always give you 1 shade darker. As long as you're using a true cardstock, it'll always give you 1 shade darker than whatever you're working on. So we're going to use it for its sticky property though. And I'm going to aim for kind of the middle here and go ahead and stamp this on my vellum. So now I think you can see there in the reflection, there is a little bit of a sheen there. So we're gonna go ahead and use that. I'm gonna close up my Versamark pad because the next step is to get out the powder. And the black comes in the Basics embossing powders. And we'll talk about these tools here in a minute. But we're gonna just set this in the tray, and I'm going to take my black powder and just dump it across the top. And really, you can use pretty much all of the things, or all of the powder. You're just gonna tap it off then. And you see how it very nicely just taps. We don't have a lot of powder sticking to the background. I actually like to take my finger and flick it a few times to just get off any extra powder, because it's a strong ink. You can see I'm flicking this, and the powder's pretty granular, but it stays where you stamp it, and so that is a good thing. All right, so now I'm gonna set this aside, and I'm going to go ahead and take off the little nozzle end here and put the extra powder back in the container. And this is where this little brush is super handy. You can also use it to flick extra powder off of your project if you have some stray stamping or something like that. It's a nice thick brush. And depending on how staticky it is in your life, you may or may not get all that powder back in. So actually, I really like Swiffer sheets to go ahead and get any last bits. And really, when I'm done with the black powder for today, I'll probably just take this, oops, I almost said it there, probably take it to my sink and just wash it with a little bit of dish soap to make sure that I've gotten all the black powder out, so they don't, like if I use white next time, I don't get, I don't have black specks mixed into my white, so whoops. Anyway, so really handy tool. Now also in this toolkit is this pair of reverse tweezers, and these basically when you squeeze them, they open, but you don't have to like expend any energy to keep them shut the rest of the time because they are shut at their resting point. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this, and this end piece is like some kind of magic heat resistant something or other, so you don't have to worry about damaging them or anything like that. And then I'm gonna bring in my heat tool, and there are, let's see, I think, there we go. The sound of the heat tool is pretty small, but I think my camera is probably drowning it out. So what I'm gonna do is just go ahead and point this here at my paper, and I'm not sure how well you can see. I don't wanna point my heat tool at my camera. I'm not sure how well you can see, but basically we're going from powdery to completely finished. You wanna keep your fingers out of the way. And then when you think you have it done, you're going to just take a quick, close look and make sure there are no powdery spots remaining. And then I usually just run my finger over it to make sure. And that looks good. All right, so hold on one second. Let me let my poor dog back inside. We're cold today, but super sunny. And so she is sure that she must be outside because it's a beautiful sunny day, but it's also 30 degrees. So she's surprised when she's out there and gets cold. So, all right, so we have our stuff done here. And let's see. All right, we are, oh yeah, Kathy, you're not on replay, you're live, hey. So we have our heat embossing done. Get that to focus, and we are going to color. Now for our faux stained glass, you can color on the front, but honestly, why work so hard? Just color on the back. So I'm gonna bring in my Stampin' markers, and the Stampin' markers work a little bit differently here on vellum than they do on cardstock. So let's zoom you all in. Let's see, there we go. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start coloring, and I'm gonna put this in the background here so you can really see what we're doing. And I'm gonna start with the wild wheat, because this is gonna match our cardstock, and I'm just gonna go over the background. So when you use Stampin' Blends markers, they usually are saturating the paper. And so that's what gives them their super saturated color, their blendability. You're saturating the paper with the alcohol ink, and that is going to allow for that beautiful, vibrant color that we're used to. But with the vellum, the color is not going to saturate, it's going to sit on top. And so you're basically layering color, but you're not gonna get that same blend effect. And actually, I am perfectly fine with that. I love the way the color shows through with the two different tones, the lighter and the darker. And you really can go back and layer because once one is dry, you're gonna add the next. And so here's what it looks like from the front side. It's a little bit more muted in color, but it's a really pretty color in there, okay? So now we're gonna go ahead and do some red. This is Sweet Sorbet. I think I put Poppy Parade in the linked, but it's actually, now that I'm looking at it, Sweet Sorbet that I've picked. And Sweet Sorbet is one of the outgoing in colors. So you have a limited amount of time to get it, probably through April, through possibly the end of April if it lasts that long, or sometime in May or wherever. So if this is one of your favorite colors, make sure you stock up on it before that catalog retires this spring. So, all right. So I'm gonna add a little bit of extra around the edge, and then I'm actually gonna use the light pumpkin pie. Stampin' Blends come in two colors for our Santa's face here. They come in two shades. So when you use a Stampin' Blend, you're gonna get a lighter and a darker, and they are perfect for layering in the way we're doing. So I like to start with a light layer. These are copper clay, so they're the ingoing. Outgoing. Oh, you know what? I think his mitten could be red. That's okay. I'm going to leave it white, I guess. So I'm going to color with a light marker first. And then I'm going to add the highlighting along the stained glass lines with the darker. And that's going to give our element that much more dimension and extra interest. So I'm going to come across here like this. All right. All right, so there is the back of our stained glass. And then when we flip it over to the front, we have this pretty muted effect, which is just a really nice effect right there with the leaded glass lines on top. All right, so now how do we plan to mount this on our project? So let's zoom back out here. There we go. And I'm gonna bring in our cardstock. So with our Santa watermark on the inside, or on the front here. We're gonna cover that up, so I'm not too worried about it. So wild wheat, and I've got our Santa. One of the trickiest things about vellum is figuring out how to use it so that you can kind of cover up the fact that you don't wanna put like things on the back. Because if you put a dimensional sticker on the back, you can see from my finger back here that you're gonna see it right through. So I'm gonna show you an undermount version, which is, I think, one of the perfect solutions for this. So I have a piece of basic white cardstock here, and I think that it is 3x4, but let me just double check. It is. So this is 3x4, so if you're looking to make this card exactly, 3x4 is the card size. And then I'm gonna slide in my circle punch, and I'm gonna slide it all the way up to the stopper. You see how that's going there? And I'm gonna pinch it with one hand, and then squeeze it with the other so that I have that circle punch. And this is the 2 3/8 inch one. So it's actually it was an online exclusive circle punch size. We're gonna hang on to this that came out with our, when this stamp set came out. So, all right. Then the next thing I'm gonna do is grab my stamp. I have my 'Tis the Season to Be Jolly. And this is also from the stamp set. One of the great things about Stampin' Up! Stamps is that they come in sets, so you have all the pieces that you need to make a full project. So there is our 'Tis the Season to Be Jolly. And now I'm gonna show you the trick for adding the undermount here so that we don't have to worry so much about adhesive. So you can see that this circle is sized perfectly here. The next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my scissors and I'm going to trim away those extra corners here. I don't need them, and this is going to give us a place to adhere our Santa undermount without worrying too much about where things are gonna stick. So I've got this lined up right in the center. I'm gonna bring in some Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm gonna pop them right at the intersection between the cardstock and the vellum, in a couple of places. So you can use as many or as few as you like. You guys know me, I'm generally a few kind of person. And then I'm gonna peel these off and we're ready to stick on our card, except I realized I forgot one of our layers. So let me see here. I have some designer series paper cut. This is the wild wheat from the 2023 to 2025 assorted in colors. So it's the more recent of the in colors. And it comes in those 4 patterns in all 5 colors. So copper clay is one, this copper clay wild wheat is one, boho blue, petaled path, and moody mauve. So I've got my wild wheat here to match my cardstock and to match our ink. And let's see, I think I'm gonna go with I'll go with this one. Maybe I'll do polka dot circles since we're doing a circle card. So I'm gonna take this and go ahead and adhere it to our card. And I have another version I can show you too that was one of the non-polka dot versions. So, all right, so I'm gonna take this with my glue. I love my multi-purpose liquid glue. I'm gonna stick this down. And now I can take my panel and pop this on here with our dimensionals. So we've got that all the way around. And then of course we need, oh, okay, well, we've totally forgotten. So what I said I was gonna save this for, you can see what happens if you forget to add it. You can't see through your stained glass very well. So unfortunately I hadn't pushed down very hard, so I can take this off and I'm gonna put some adhesive on here. And now that I know exactly where that circle needs to go, I can pop it on there. Oh, look at that. All right, there we go. Okay, so much better, right? So now we have the full stained glass effect with our raised circle and that undermount. So now we need some embellishments, and I've got my in color dots here. This is a couple packages cobbled together, so usually they're all nice and flat on one flat level. So let me add a couple of these. If you guys watch my videos, you know I'm very fond of adding 3 of these embellishments to strengthen our focal point. And our focal point is our greeting. So that's why they're going around the greeting, okay? And then, of course, these dots match the cardstock assortment and the designer series paper assortment. So they're a great thing to have on hand. And then we have the inside of our card, and we want to just do some quick stamping here. So I'm gonna bring back my wild wheat pad and add another greeting from the set. Oh, what fun. And then this little floral arrangement, which the first time I used this, I actually thought it was just a floral, but it is actually a mistletoe, I think. And so mistletoe hangs downward. So I'm going to hang it that direction so that it's sort of the right side up, I guess. And then we're gonna pop this here onto the inside of our card for a really easy finish. So, all right. So if you were making a Christmas card, then you wanted to make a whole bunch of them, this would be a really great card. It's very easily duplicatable. And the great news about Versamark and embossing powder is that you can stamp 20 of these things, add powder to 20 of them, and then know that your powder is not going to fall off by the time you want to emboss it. It stays sticky and moist for a very long time, so you don't really have to fret too much about being super speedy or anything. I know a lot of times people are like, oh my gosh, I have to heat my powder really fast. But no, you have plenty of time. So this is an easily duplicatable card. And if you were going to do this for a lot of Christmas cards, then I would do them all in sequence. Like I would punch all of my circles from the white cardstock, and then I would stamp all of my greetings on the white cardstock, and then I would stamp all of my Versamark and so forth. And I would color all the wild wheats. Anyway, you guys kind of get the idea. So a really fun and easily duplicatable card. Now I promised you another version of it. I do have that. And this version is exactly the same, except instead of undermounting it, like on this circle, I overmounted it just as a normal layer. And so what I did was I used that same circle punch here here's my camera, same circle punch here to punch out the vellum, and then I used my multi-purpose liquid glue and I put it right under the black lines in just a couple of places to adhere our vellum circle here. So 2 different versions and ways to use this. So, all right, and yes, this card brings up the question, wild wheat, yes or no? So I know some people don't love this wild wheat color. It is definitely one that is growing on me in a big way. If you remember back a few decades, this wild wheat / goldenrod color was the color of there was like a carved carpeting that was super ubiquitous. It was everywhere. It was in our house, the house that I grew up in Ohio, on all of the first floor carpets, and it was this goldenrod color. So who knows, maybe it's like fond memories is why I love wild wheat so much. But I think we had a stove that was this color, like all the things, right? So remember back, hopefully fondly, for all those things that you liked in burnt yellow. All right, so let's see. Bonnie said wild wheat's not a color, but she might give it a try for this card. Yeah, pull it out, put it to work. Try changing up another card design that you have, that you've put together, and see, if you can find a great way to use your wild wheat. I do really like this color, especially for autumn. It's really way autumn go-to right now. And Tanya said she doesn't have it either, but she likes it here. Oh, what other color could you use instead? So you could very easily do this card and use Sweet Sorbet to bring out the red in the Santa. You could use copper clay if you were looking for a more muted cardstock color. This designer series paper of these patterns actually comes in all of the color families, so you could make a selection of them. A fun way to mix it up for yourself would be to pick a color family that has a number of complementary colors. So actually you could pick the 2022 to 24 in colors, which includes Sweet Sorbet, because you're going to want a red if you're going to do your Santa card, and then a number of other bright colors. And you could mix and match all 5 of those colors as long as you kept Sweet Sorbet in each one. You could have ones in Parakeet Party, you could have ones in Starry Sky, because within any of the Stampin' Up! Color families, or the 5 in colors, in those groups of 5, their colors are value matched by the artists at Stampin' Up! And so they make it really easy for you to create a whole project that really looks fabulous together, because those colors are always going to match. So any color family you can mix and match. So Tanya, if you pick a red to be the traditional Santa jacket, you can pick any other color set that you love to go along with this. So if you do something different, post a picture. I'd love to see it. All right. Hey, Joan and Diane, I'm glad you found us. Yeah, Harvest Gold. Thank you, Terry. I could not remember the name of the color. Yes, the official color was Harvest Gold. And Lisa says she's not a fan for Christmas, but is okay for fall. That is certainly your prerogative. So hopefully the people who receive these Christmas cards from me won't be too find it too objectionable. But maybe it's like those retro cards. Like sometimes you see the images from like the 40s, the 30s, 20s, 30s, and 40s with that sort of vintage doll look. Those are great ones for bringing out vintage colors. So you just never know. Okay. I did have a couple other things to tell you. One about the postage. So I had a chat with one of my local post people. She's always wonderful. And she let me know that the postage actually changed in January. So this is almost a year later and I'm a little late to the game. But if you have a card that you're sending that is non-machinable, meaning it has a significant bump to it, then the surcharge for that is 40 cents. And we used to be able to, regular first class postage plus 40 cents. You used to be able to add an additional ounce stamp. The additional ounce and non-machinable used to be the same charge. But last January, apparently, they changed. And so the additional ounce stamps are only 24 cents. So you could pop 2 of these onto an envelope that's non-machinable along with your regular first class postage forever stamp, and you'd be overpaying by 8 cents. But she said that there's not a non-machinable stamp available. There's not one available. So yeah, it's a kind of frustrating for those of us who like to send non-machinable envelopes. But anyway, I just thought I'd pass that little tidbit along because it was new to me. And let's see, what else do I have to tell you? The November card tutorials are going to feature the Winter Owl stamp set, so watch for those to come out during the month of November. And we are also going to have a new set of online exclusives released. So this was one from the last release, but those are coming out, I think November 7th is the first day that you can get those. So watch for those. And as last time, there'll probably be some things that are super popular. So shop early for the best selection. And if you have not joined my email newsletter list, you are going to want to do that. And you can do that on my website at lovenstamps.com. There's a link on there to join my email newsletter list, and then I'll announce specials and things like that. So you'll always have those in your email inbox. All right, Joan suggested, using flat gems or no bling, definitely a possibility. And also what I often do is when I put a card in the envelope, I will just put an extra layer of cardstock over the top of it and put it in the envelope. Sometimes I write like card protector, please discard or something, and sometimes I just put it in there. But that sort of disguises any bumps that are in there so that hopefully the post office doesn't have a hard time with those. So, plus it protects your envelope and so the gems don't get pushed through. So, all right, I felt like there was something else to tell you guys, but I can't remember what it was. So thanks for joining us. You guys are some of my favorites. Stamping community. We get together and watch Maker Mornings with Meg, or do Maker Mornings with Meg together, and so appreciated. So thanks for all your support, and I will be back on Thursday with another Maker Mornings with Meg project. So hope to catch you live, and if not, we'll catch you on the replay. So happy stamping, everyone. Take care.